Okay, so this is our second flip lesson, and it's on expanded and scientific notation. This one will be quite a bit shorter than the last one. Hopefully most of this information you've already learned at some point. Real quickly, scientific notation is a way, basically we're able to handle very large or very small numbers. In chemistry, we will be using very large and very small numbers, and so there's a lot of zeros at the beginning or the end of these numbers. It's easier to use scientific notation to relate those. Now, the rules that you should follow in order to do this, the first thing is you're going to look for the decimal or the assumed decimal and move it so that the number to the left of that decimal is 1 through 9. Okay, you shouldn't have a 12 or 36 to the left of it. It should be 1.3 or 3.6 when you're done. Anytime you're then writing the number in scientific notation, any numbers that are 1 through 9 must be written down. Zeros generally aren't unless you have some sort of decimal where it ends in zeros. And you'll see that here in a little bit. If the ones that end are in the middle of a decimal number, then we will keep. Eventually then you're going to write out times 10 raised to the power of how many times you move that decimal. So if you move that decimal to the left 4 times, it's going to be times 10 raised to the 4th. If you move it to the right, though, you're going to write times 10 to the negative 4th. Okay, the positive tells you it's a number bigger than 0, and then the negative tells you it's a decimal, it's less than 0. So looking at an example, 36,000, the first thing we want to do is move the decimal so that it is between the 3 and the 6. So we put it right there. Okay, notice then the 3 is 1 through 9. I didn't put it here, that would give me 36. The second thing then, determine how many times we did this, or how many times it took to get there. So starting here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it took us 4 movements to get it over there. From there, write out the whole numbers. So in this case, we have 3.6. And then we're going to multiply it times 10 raised to how many times it took us to move it. Well, if you remember, it took 4. So we'll write 4. So you can see it better. There it is typed out. So 36,000 becomes 3.6 times 10 to the 4th. Another example, decimal with a bunch of zeros, 3050. So this is where that exception comes in. Since we're dealing with a 0 at the very end, it is important. We're going to use it. Alright, so the same steps. First thing we're going to do is put the decimal right here so that the number to the left of it is 1 through 9. Okay, so a 3 is 1 through 9. Then we're going to say how many times it takes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times is what it took us. So we're going to have times 10 to the 6th. We need to write down all these numbers though. This 0 and this 0 are counted because they're after this. So it would be 3.050 times 10 to the 6th in this case. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, negative 6, since we went to the right, my fault. Alright, so now we go the other direction. So now we're given scientific notation, and we want to write it in expanded form. So remember, anytime we have a positive exponential, that means the number is greater than 1. Therefore, this decimal needs to move to the right. Okay? So it's telling us that we need to move it 5 times. Again, if it's positive, we move to the right. If it is negative, we move it to the left. So in this case, we're going to move it to the right 5 times. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fill in zeros right here. It's kind of hard to write with, but you get the idea. So we end up getting 934,000 because we had to add those zeros. Same thing here, but this time we're negative. So we're going to start here and move it over 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Real hard to write. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this case we have a decimal, 5 zeros, 8, 4. So it looks like that. So basically, that is it for scientific notation in expanded form. So if you look in your packet on the very first page, actually, section B and C will go ahead and show you that. And so you go ahead and do those for tomorrow, and we'll discuss them.